right, everybody. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This man is back another week. I'm your host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. My name is Preacher Moss. Hope everybody had a great week. This week was kind of a challenge, a good challenge. I actually am broadcasting from Miami, Florida, down here in the heart of Miami, downtown proper. So you won't get the green screen effect that we normally do. We're dressing it up nice. So this is actually from my hotel room. Shout out to the hotel. Give me a little studio over on the side where the noise was a little bit low. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Hope that you guys are having a great Wednesday. Our topic today is American democracy owes us an apology. Now, I really thought about this, and I've been thinking about it really for about the last 3.5 months to kind of effectuate how I was feeling, but also in speaking to a lot of people about what is the state of America's presence in the world, and then what does America mean to you now? You start thinking about what you've been told. You start thinking about how we've been asked to act and react to so many things, and I just personally felt like we need to have this conversation. So there's going to be 3 aspects of this conversation, at least 3. One is what we've been told. Number 3 is what we've been sold. And number 3 is where do we go from here? So 1, what you've been told. 2, what you've been sold. 3, where are you going to go from here? We are particularly, if you're not rich in America, you can be black and rich in America, and you can buy privilege in some regards. But if you're not, if you are amongst the millions of people in the United States that get up every day, work hard, and we have a goal. And that goal is whether it's taking care of your family, making sure that your children have it better than you, just a comfortable lifestyle. Leading a peaceful and purposeful life is a great accomplishment these days. So the question begins, what is American democracy now? We take it as a historical imperative. What does it mean to us? What does it deliver? Let's look at it as a business engagement, like a contract, if you will. What aspect of mutual assent were we given? What was the offer? A primary estoppel, an agreement. What aspects of American democracy have you been able to engage in? Historically, what we find is that we're not able to engage in it as we would see fit. So what you have more so is, I don't want to say settle, but do you know that the product that you're getting is not a primary product? And there's something to say that when you know that you're not getting a primary product, and you know that you're a primary person, that you have a superior intellect, that you have a superior engagement, superior ideas, there's something about going to a marketplace of the inferior. And I will talk about American democracy in that aspect as a marketplace. Where do we go to find freedom? Where do we go to find justice? Where do we go to find equality, liberty, all of these things that are promised in Declaration of Independence, understanding that this is a flawed document. Conceptually, it has what it needs, but let's talk about it. It goes through the hands of men, and these are not enlightened men in the aspect of other, meaning that other people have a right to existence, other people have a right to agency. So, when you have these things, it becomes more and more important to talk about them, specifically as we're getting into an election cycle. It feels like we never left it. To me, it feels like we never left the election cycle. We've been dealing with everything from 2020 up to this point. It's just been a continuation. And what I would like to say, and be very, very clear about this, that I understand that democracy has suffered. Because the real democracy is democracy of self. And the democracy itself is built upon truth. Truth bearing out how you feel, what you say, how you act, and how you interpret it in other people who have their own systems and economics or ecosystems of democracy. What's going to happen in the next couple of years? I don't know. I've seen people literally run away from democracy, literally look at it, act like it's not there, or worse, it's totally disregarded. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of historical comparative when we come back, but I think the thing that we should all know is we're entitled to aspects of democracy: truth, liberty, equity. I say equity as well as equality. Equity. And if we're not getting those things, then what are we really supposed to do? We'll be right back here on the Shout Out Show. Don't you move. And thank you guys for tuning in. We're live from Miami, Florida. All right, we're back here on the Shout Out Show. This is your brother, Preacher Moss. Listen, we were talking about America owes us an apology. Let's look at the aspects of an apology, because I think the aspect of an apology, the concept of apology, has literally been watered down to the point that people just say sorry, not understanding the demonstrative aspect of why you say sorry. Number one, you have to identify that an incident has happened. An incident or an event has happened that has caused some type of either misunderstanding, disruption, or harm. But the other aspect of an apology is that you know what you are apologizing for. This whole scope of political empty apologies has become a farce. And what we're beginning to look at is, because so systematic, so systematic that people don't really have a value for an apology. What they look for is your acceptance of their behavior, more so the acceptance of seeking your forgiveness. And it's two parts. When you're talking about an apology, it's really the fact that, number one, you acknowledge some type of action that you did that was destructive, disruptive, harmful, or hurtful. That's one. But the other part of it is redemption, meaning that there's some scope whereby you are going to redeem yourself for the action that you just perpetrated. And this whole idea of making us whole is ironic, because we have MAGA, Make America Great Again, but we won't make America whole again. And so when you begin to understand that there's an emptiness in this talk and this rhetoric, you begin to understand it's generational now. So we have levels of politicians that have engaged in this type of behavior. Now it becomes really, really commonplace. I remember when they had the march in Charlottesville, and you had all these young men with the tiki torches and the tan pants, almost like the SS back in the day in Germany. But what they really, really focused on was making sure that they weren't trying to make nothing they did was really about making anything whole. In fact, it was really emphasizing that America wasn't whole. That the continuation, the process of what they were trying to do is to reopen that thing. American politics is devoid of a certain level of integrity. It seems like the people who get hurt the most, the people who get disrespected the most, the people that get cheated the most, are the ones in the whole process that have to have the most integrity. Does that make sense to you? That the people who are lied to, the people who are cheated on, the people who were robbed, the people who are stolen from, some have to maintain this high level of integrity, and the people who perpetrate the action somehow are exonerated, because we should know that type of behavior. Now, I said America owes us an apology. I didn't say we're going to get it. I'm talking about a certain amount of randomness, but a certain amount of direct activity that kind of leads us to where we are now. I've never been in my group of folks, and it's a fairly diverse group of folks. My group of folks, man, we never thought that democracy worked. I'm 57 years old. My father told me years ago when I was a kid, I don't want you to ever think that democracy works. He said, I want you to understand that it works for some. And in some aspects, it will work for you. And in other aspects, it may not work for you. It might be about your skin color. It might be about where you live. It might be about what your religion is. He said, but I want you to understand that America owes us an apology, and it doesn't necessarily work. Because the people at the top, the people who have the power. And let me really go into this. We're not talking about a dominant majority. We're talking about a dominant minority. A dominant minority who specialize in understanding law, specialize in understanding finance and things of that. That this is a control group. And the control group, at no point in time throughout history, wherever you go, dictatorships, monarchies, political juntas, none of them believe that the people that they take power from are actually equal to them. The idea is that I take power, and in giving power, you owe me more power. And the concept of a democracy, democratization, if you will, it's a very singular act, it's a very intimate act. That as a people, if we're talking about a democracy, it has to work a certain way. It's interesting that American democracy doesn't necessarily line up with American foreign policy. Now, when I say that it doesn't line up with American foreign policy, if you go other places and you take a historical look at American democracy being introduced, forced, oppressive in other nations, you begin to understand that this version of American democracy, this particular iteration, is dangerous. We now are watching American democracy run amok. That American democracy fails at critical levels to recognize the truth and protect people. Let me say that again. It fails to recognize the truth and protect people. At least back in the day, American democracy protected some people. So in the civil rights era, it protected some people. In the later eras, it protected women, it protected gays, it protected Native Americans. Even if it was just a base action, it still had to implement itself for it to be valid. That we had to have something to believe in. It's almost like the police. You know, we have to believe the police or believe in the police, but when do we believe in the police? When a crime is being committed. When we've been violated, or someone we know or love has been violated, or there's an action going on that violates us as a community group, you understand that here now that you need that protection. That's when we value the police. Back in the day, they had community police who understood the community and things, and I don't want to digress on that. But that version of the police literally lined up with a democratic or a democratic narrative that we've been given for years. Let me jump forward on this. And I want to let me bring in some of my ShOUT Show family. I know we're on Instagram, so bear with me. I don't get all the comments, but just bear with me today, inshallah. I want to give a shout out, Sister Reed. How you doing, Sister Reed? All the way from Houston, Texas. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace and blessings to your family. Right? I want to give a shout out to my main man, Altaf Rashid. Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We call him our Canadian envoy to the show. We call him Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down. I always hear him, day one. He and Sister Reed, day one, folks. I want to give a shout out to my big brother Bilal Salahuddin, also in Houston. Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to you and your queen, my brother. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. And this is my little brother, not so little, but my beloved brother, Johnny L. Thomas. Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, joining us from Milwaukee. What's going on, little brother? My main man, Carter, joining us from South Carolina. Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for joining us, Big Eric. We appreciate it. And my main man, Doug Robinson from Houston, sound man extraordinaire, says I apologize for Tan fans. I only wear them at NFL games. Doug, we love you. Doug is an honorary Muslim and has done great work for me and my projects and things like that. I consider him family. Doug, thank you so much. Let me check the Instagram. Okay, we got some people here. All right. Sister Ruth. Want to give a shout out to you, Remote Ramadan, Farha joined, and want to give a shout out. Fitri Rashid joined us. Sister Ruth Nasrullah joined us. Let's see. Dudes Rain joined us. My main man Jabril Howe, all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, joined us. What's going on, brother? Sandwisa, Rahman Ahmed, R. Ahmed, okay. Hungry Boy Vlogs. Wa alaikum assalam to the barakatuh, beloved. Thank you so much. Let's see, we got Hungry Boy, we got my man Mars. This is my cousin from the West Coast. Hey, yo, I'm coming out there next week, man. So let's connect. I'm doing a fundraiser for MCA, so you know what it is. Let's see, Vita. Dan, okay, listen, I didn't get that one, but God bless you, appreciate you. So y'all know what I'm beginning to talk about, right? Here's my notion. I can be totally wrong here. Anybody can join in and correct me. I just feel like this whole idea of American democracy, it does not have or bear fruit in terms of religious alignment. American democracy is not what God wants. And I say this because outside of being a religious man, or not a religious man, I practice my religion as best I can. I can see when people present things in front of me, much the same as many of you, you know that's not what God wants. That there's no goodness in it, there's no graciousness, there's no mercy in it, there's no compassion in it. You know, we literally now watch war on social media and TV. This is a war, brothers and sisters. It's a war against those who have and have not, those who aren't and are not armed, those who can kill and those who cannot stop themselves from being killed. Let's just be what it is, okay? It don't have to be Gaza. It doesn't have to be Israel. At this point it is. But my point is, we now see that American democracy does not work and is complicit in other people putting out the same type of product in terms of governance or denial of governance. What I mean is, you know, in the Senate today, yesterday, the Senate sat up and basically shielded the proponents of those who killed Gazans. They shielded them. Why did they shield them? And here's my thing. At this point in time, American democracy is not worth 2 cents. If you gave it to me for 2 cents, I give you 5 cents to take it out of it. It smells, it stinks, it doesn't work. And at this point in time, it's important because here we are in election year. I remember 2020 and I remember 2016. I mean, 2016 was a compromise election for quite a number of, we had election interference going back to 2016. We had election interference going on in 2020. There's no reason to believe that it will not go on for 2024. Here's what I have to put out and here's what I have to say. And let me phrase this. And first, I'm going to give some credit to my mentor, the beloved comedian, Dick Gregory. This is what he said. He said, white people and white supremacy cannot peacefully coexist. He said, if you took all the diversity out of the United States and you left white people with their modality of white supremacy, they would kill themselves, they would collapse upon themselves. He said, the saving grace of a black face or a Latino face or a Muslim face or a Native American face, give them pause to not have to look at themselves and the creations that they put out there, the government that they put out there. You see, you have to look at European governments that fail. You have to see how European governments that went abroad fail. That the commission of thinking that you can liberate some people or the commission that you think you can give people mercy or compassion is scary because those are not things that are part of the human vernacular. Mercy works through us, compassion works through us. You're talking about American democracy, the way, or they do it now, the way they used to talk, they talk about mercy and compassion. That they want to level up, it can't be leveled up. You know, if you ever get a chance, and I'm going to suggest this for folks, if you ever get a chance to go and visit the incarcerated, okay, go. Let them know that there's love from the outside. Let them know that they're not forgotten. But I want you to go there, and that's the epitome of American democracy. It's prison system. It's prison system that does not, hear me now, it does not rehabilitate the criminal. It does not redeem the criminal. It does not put into the program that you're supposed to leave out of here better than when you came in. Over and over and over, we have these conversations, right? And I mention the prisons because you're talking about people who don't have freedom. One of the things about American democracy is it can always leverage that freedom is a part of this conversation. When you go to the prison, freedom is not a part of the conversation. It's the denial of freedom, or eventually you will get it back. In talking with these brothers and some of the sisters, it's just that there's a cold, empty soul for what's being said. That if you have a group of people who are not free, hear what I'm saying? They're not free. You have a group of people that you can impose will on because you have the legal mandate to do so. And then let's make it even clearer. Because they committed a crime, you have a right to violate them over and over and over and over and over and not be considered doing criminal activity. That you can oppress them, you can deny their rights. I mean, prison's not a good place. On the outside, we tend to think because we're free that a democracy works for us. You know, when people really sit down and ask questions about, and like I said, you start asking questions about your quality of status. Asking, what is your quality of status? When you walk into a place, how do people look at you? When the police show up, how do people look at you? When you walk into a room of people who have money and you don't have money, how do people look at you? How is society going to size you up and put you in a box is what I'm saying. One of the things that has happened over the years is that people have used democracy to size us up and put us in a box. That the politician somehow has more access to democracy than you do or I do. Devoid of the fact that we have to vote for that politician. But if you reverse it, that politician thinks you must vote for me. That I am your gateway to democracy. This period, this 100 days of Palestine and Gaza and this conflict, it should let you guys know something. I was talking to a man this weekend. But it should let you know something. And it should let you know is, if democracy is not working, why are we still talking about it? Is it a diversion? Are we being showed the left hand so we don't want to look at what's in the right hand? Are we being sold this thing and we don't know behind it is a gun or a knife or a club? Or worse, when somebody promises you, they put their hand out, there's nothing there. There's nothing more deflating or defeating. There's an assault on critical race theory in the United States. I don't know how many of you read critical race theory, Delgado, folks like that. But let me give you guys. Let me give a shout out to some folks too. My main man, Jihad Turk. Shout out Bayan Islamic Graduate School. If anybody is looking to get some even me, I got my master's in Islamic education from Bayan. And I have to say, it made me think, hey, Jihad, I was in Miami Gardens, man. I gave a kubar, brother. I was spectacular. I'm just kidding. I was actually pretty good, though. I want to give a shout out Sister Salima Rashid up in Philadelphia, doing great things with Engage. Doing great things with Engage. She's been in that position, doing that for quite a number of years. Shout out Sister Karima. Let's see. Rezo Paki. All right. Some of them I can't do. I'm going between StreamYard and Instagram. So let me throw this out. And like I said, these are my views, right? Years ago, and I remember this. This is when, like, 1966, 1970. I remember a man talking about how democracy doesn't work. That American civilization for the black man owes us an apology. that we cannot negotiate with a person who does not have a relationship or belief in God. You look at their actions, how they treat people, how they treat people who are close to them, how they treat people who look like them. He said, and that gives you a rationale for who you should deal with. Malcolm said it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it. I've said it numerous times that if democracy is not working, we need to step back and establish our own sense of self-government. Start with yourself and find like-minded people who are going to help you grow your community and grow your environment, right? It seems to me that American democracy is not only not working, but we're applying it other places. We're giving gravitas for people whose democracy don't work either, except for themselves. And we seem to be, again, giving them gravitas to do these things. Like the inverted. You know, if there's a situation like with children. If you have a young baby and you give him a ball, right? He's a little ball baby, and the baby drops the ball, and they look at you to pick it up. You pick it up the first time, you give them the ball, they drop it again. You drop it again. You give it to them, they drop it again. You may do this 15 times. The joy of the child is, one, you're amusing me, but two, at some point in time, in a limited space of being a child, I have control. I'm able to make you move and make you react in a certain way. And that develops a value system. The problem with American democracy these days, and why I said it owes us an apology, is that it's yet to reveal a meaningful value system. That the treatment of people, not just African Americans, Latino, the poor, the homeless / unhoused. We're not talking about people who have long had issues with getting proper value. We're not even talking about women's rights right now. You know, I said something to a friend of mine. I know it's bad because Dave Chappelle put out his last comedy special, and it had some trans stuff, but ain't nobody talking about it. It didn't rank. There's two things I want us to think about. It's two things I would like for us to really think about. And like I said, when you're wrong, you're wrong. But you might be right. And I throw this out to Sister Salima. There's a conversation that has to be had in houses and churches and mosques and synagogues around the United States, around the world, that says that this iteration of democracy is killing us. It's killing us physically, it's killing us spiritually, it's killing us militarily, it's killing us financially, it's killing us emotionally, it's killing us educationally. It's death by a thousand pen stroke paper cuts. And what we do is we find ourselves in weakened conditions. I'm down here in Florida this weekend. I don't know if you guys caught the show last week. A group called Soul Flow, Southern Federation of Southern Florida Muslims, had an event scheduled, and they've been planning this event for like easily a year. They called me sometime last year. I agreed to do it a week before. A week before the event, a group of Islamophobes came up with an article that wasn't true, and it said that this was not a grouping or gathering of Muslims celebrating family, faith, and spirit, but it was a group of people who are pro-Hamas supporters and Hamas sympathizers. And with that, just that, we're able to secure a meeting with the head of the Marriott, and ultimately, the Marriott dropped their contract, voided their contract a week before the event. And my response to them was like, you got to respond. I think Engage got involved, but I said you had to respond. This is me coming from, my background. My mom was in civil rights. I grew up around the nation. You don't just punch me and walk away. Because if you walk away, you really gonna get it. But it's the fact that we don't have a credible threat, that these people can do this, that you can take a piece of paper and you can make it fact on social media. You can bring it alive on social media. And you can take somebody who doesn't know it, you can scare them just as bad, and you can get them to react the way you want to. Hence, the baby with the ball. If we're going to be truthful, brothers and sisters, we're going to require a deep dive in our own community intellectual capacity, religious, politically, however you want to do it, and convene a fact that if we see that American democracy is failing and is inferior, what are we going to put in its space? How are we going to construct a new marketplace for ideas that actually benefit us? Ideas that frame the best parts of us and leave a legacy and a pathway and a template for those that come behind us to pursue the same excellence. Over and over and over, we seem to believe, you can't believe that the person that pressures you is somehow going to have a come to Jesus moment and work it out. Sometimes the come to Jesus moment is when they look for you, you are not there. When they look for you, you are in better places. When they try to engage you, you're engaged in things that they can't understand and can't engage in because they don't have the DNA to do it. As my friend says, when they look at us, they have to understand that we're playing chess, they're playing checkers. In the marketplace, it's like the casino. If you ever go to the casino, certain tables you can't get on, right? So if it's the blackjack table, that's a $1,000 table. You can't sit down there if you don't have $1,000. I'm saying that so many of these people don't have $1,000. They don't have $100. They don't have $200. They don't have $2. They don't have 4 quarters to make $1. But we continue to make space for them. I'm saying we can no longer continue to make space for them. Am I saying specialize? Am I saying be a direct? Am I saying things like, you know what? You can't come to this table? Yes. You damn right I'm saying it. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it till y'all start saying it. And in that space, brothers and sisters, I'm going to ask us to encourage, if you will, excellence. What I found is Islamophobes and racists and that over the years, and I've talked about them for years, those are some lazy folks. That they lay a groundwork. That's why, a racist is never going to do his work. A racist will employ fear because he can't carry it across the line. He needs you to be scared. I'm going to go boo, but I need you to go boo for the rest of your life. Islamophobia is the same way. I need to make you afraid of, and I'm coming after you for your religion and your way of life. And when I'm over here, and I'm over here, you over here, I need you to tell everybody in the world, I'm coming for your religion and your way of life. And I need you to perpetuate it. So that 20 years after 9/11, you're still saying the same damn thing. Is it strategy? Evil? Is it genius? Yeah, if it works. If you think that it's real, American democracy, is it a scam? Is it a hustle? No. At some point in time, somebody had a great idea about democracy and how it works and how it should work and how it should be fair. The problem was, it wasn't for you, Negro. It wasn't for you, Native American. It wasn't for you, women. It's for white men who own land. Facts. So as I close, and I will, I'm going to ask all of you to please, when you get in your spaces, tell folks that American democracy ain't working. And tell your politicians, when they say you need to vote for me, say, wait a minute. I want a damn apology. Tell them, your congressmen, your senators, your city councilmen ain't doing nothing. Tell them I want an apology before you get my vote. And if they apologize, don't give them the vote anyway. That's the way they do us. Hell. Listen, I'm Preacher Mars. This is the Shout Out Show. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be back next week. Appreciate you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shout out to everybody that joined us on Instagram. Much love. Preacher Mars. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.